they are preparing. 50:30 until 50:33 is opening by moderator. 50:33 until 50:36 we are together sing Indonesia Raya National Anthem. And 50:36 until 50:45 is information about admission new student in our majoring. 50:45 until 16:45 is a sharing research from Dr. Kaewsuk, and then 16:45 until 17 question and answer, and 70 until 72 is photo session, and then we are 72 is closing. Okay. Okay, the next is Sing Indonesia Raya Nasional Anthem. I want to request to all participants to stand up. Mas Feby bisa diputarkan untuk lagu Indonesia Rayanya. Oke. Mas Feby suaranya nggak kedengeran. Dari bangku itu Indonesia kebangsaanku, bangsaanku tanah air. Marilah Indonesia bersatu. Hiduplah tanahku, hiduplah negeriku, bangsaku, rakyatku bangunlah Indonesia Raya, Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia Raya. Indonesia Raya, merdeka, merdeka, tanahku, negeriku yang ku cinta. Indonesia merdeka, merdeka, hiduplah Indonesia. Thank you for all participants. Okay. Before we begin this webinar series, I will inform to all of you about admission of new student in Master of Environmental Science of University Pembangunan Nasional Veteran Jawa Timur. So sorry for Dr. Kaewsuk, I will inform this information in Bahasa. Baik, Bapak Ibu, sebelum kita memulai acara webinar ini, saya akan menginformasikan mengenai penerimaan mahasiswa S2, yaitu program studi ilmu lingkungan di UPN Veteran Jawa Timur. Kami menerima mahasiswa di semester ganjil dan genap, ya. Kami menargetkan bahwa semua anak didik kami itu akan selesai pada 4 semester. Itu dengan catatan semuanya harus lancar ya, karena kami memiliki beberapa strategi. Semisalnya di semester 3 itu ada mata kuliah metodologi penelitian. Dari metodologi penelitian ini semua mahasiswa kami harus memiliki beberapa luaran. Yang pertama adalah sudah selesai menyelesaikan proposal tesis. Yang kedua adalah sudah bisa membuat artikel ilmiah yang bisa disubmit ke dalam conference atau jurnal dengan kategori a review. Sehingga di semester 4-nya, mahasiswa yang bersangkutan bisa fokus kepada tesis. Kami memiliki 3 macam ujian yang harus dilalui oleh mahasiswa. Yang pertama adalah seminar proposal, dan yang kedua adalah seminar hasil, dan yang ketiga adalah lesan komprehensif. Itu ya. Kemudian mahasiswa yang ingin melanjutkan studi di tempat kami wajibkan untuk memenuhi beberapa administrasi dokumen. Kemudian akan melalui 2 macam ujian, yaitu ujian mengenai ujian tulis, yaitu kemampuan dasar, dan yang kedua adalah interview. Apabila yang bersangkutan kami nyatakan lulus dalam kedua ujian tersebut, maka mahasiswa tersebut harus mengikuti matrikulasi untuk melanjutkan S2-nya sebesar 12 SKS yang semuanya harus ditempuh dalam 16 kali pertemuan dengan 2 kali macam ujian, yaitu ujian tengah semester dan ujian akhir semester. Kami juga menawarkan mata kuliah Merdeka Belajar yang bisa diikuti oleh semua magister ilmu lingkungan atau semua program studi yang mata kuliahnya hampir sama atau ingin mengambil mata kuliah dari kami. Kami informasikan kami memiliki 4 mata kuliah yang bisa diambil. Yang pertama adalah Teknologi Pengelolaan Limbah Padat dan B3. Yang kedua, Dinamika Sosial dan Kearifan Lokal. Yang ketiga, Fitoteknologi Tingkat Lanjut. Dan yang keempat adalah Toksikologi Lingkungan dan Abnormalitas. Jadi keempat mata kuliah ini merupakan mata kuliah Merdeka Belajar. Jadi monggo apabila Bapak Ibu atau ada rekanan atau anak didiknya ada yang ingin melanjut, yang sudah menempuh gelar strata S2, bisa diinformasikan bahwa Magister Ilmu Lingkungan UPN Veteran Jawa Timur membuka kelas Merdeka Belajar. Ya. Kemudian untuk mengetahui apa saja yang harus artinya mengetahui hal-hal apa saja yang harus ditempuh oleh calon maba ini, Bapak Ibu bisa membuka webnya UPN, gitu ya, webnya UPN, kemudian klik saja Magister Ilmu Lingkungan, gitu ya. Demikian Bapak Ibu sedikit informasi mengenai penerimaan mahasiswa baru program Magister Ilmu Lingkungan Universitas Pembangunan Veteran Jawa Timur. Baik, saya kembali kepada acara webinar ya. Oke. Oke, Dr. Kaewsuk, are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Before you present your research, I want to read your curriculum vitae. I already print your curriculum vitae 8 pages. Okay. This is Dr. Jutamas Kaewsuk from Environmental Engineering Mahidol University. Overall profile, water and wastewater treatment and environmental engineering professional with over 6 years of international work experience in NGO, research institute and government agency, working as lecturer and researcher in higher education institution for 4 years, expertise in membrane technology for water and wastewater treatment, working on promoting water safety plans for community water supply plans and climate change resilience in water sector for local community and urban area. Before you said before join in Mahidol University last month, you are a lecturer in the Faculty of Environment and Resources Study, Mahasarakam University.
Yes.
And then you have a lot of, I think, many project collaboration with the government, and then your PhD from Korea,
Yes.
Electrotechnology Research Institute, Gyeongnam, Changwon, South Korea. I can read your curriculum vitae because it is okay. So many publication and project. Okay, Dr. Kaewsuk, times to save time, let us listen sharing research from Dr. Kaewsuk. Dr. Kaewsuk, times is yours.
Okay, thank you. Let me share my screen. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for letting me here to share my work experience, especially this one on plastic pollution. So now I'm working at Mahidol University in the faculty of, actually it's not faculty, it's Department of Environmental Engineering and Disaster Management. So let's begin. Okay, today what I'm going to talk is mainly revolved around plastic pollution. You can observe yourself that you cannot live without plastic. You can look around yourself right now and you can count plastic around you. And if I want you to imagine yourself live without plastic, I don't think you can think about that image because we kind of like addicted to plastic already. And the plastic we use, actually we use it for a very short time, as short as minutes before you throw it away, and it will accumulate in the environment for hundreds of years. And it's not always preserved as the form, like if you throw plastic bag, it will not form plastic bag forever. It will break into smaller parts until you cannot recognize that it was plastic bag before, as well as other kinds of plastic that we consume every day. So actually I want to show this video, but it doesn't have sound, so I will skip it. So as you already observe yourself, I guess that you cannot live without plastic, and every day you produce plastic waste every single hours, I guess. I can bet you. And this plastic becomes smaller plastic, and we call it microplastic, and also nanoplastic, which is very harmful. So, but today I will talk about microplastic and this marine debris, because every waste from land activity, from human activity on the land, most of them end up in the ocean, and it become marine debris in the ocean. maybe you used to you maybe have come across one video that there is a diver took this video in the ocean. I'm not sure if in Bali or where in the world, but it's like ton of plastic in the water. It's like more than fish already. So from the study of IUCN, they show that there are over 3 million tons of plastic produced for us to use every year. Some of them are end up in the ocean, like around 8 million tons of plastic waste end up in the ocean. Either we directly dump it into the ocean or it discharges with the river, and then it will end up in the ocean as well. I have experience staying in a hotel, in actually a guest house next to mangrove area. It was very beautiful, and this mangrove area end up in the ocean, up in the Thai Bay. And one day it was raining, very strong rain, and just in 1 hour, that mangrove, that river, like flow very fast, and it carry lots of plastic waste, like more than 100,000 of plastic waste into the ocean by my own eyes. It was very shocking, quite, for me. And then it caused death of marine species. We have seen in the news already almost every day that big marine species die, and we found lots of plastic waste in the stomach. And once it entered food chain, then it will harm to our health, because we eat fish from the ocean. We consume protein from water. We consume water from the ocean, from the river, which is polluted by plastic. And it also contributes to climate change as well. So to solve this plastic ocean, if we call it ocean, we cannot think about single country. We need the whole world together, international agreement to cope with this kind of pollution. We are overwhelmed with this waste already. And also we need researchers involved to produce new products to replace this single-use plastic. We should stop using single-use plastic already, because it doesn't, if we compare the usage and the harmful of it, it is not balanced. We use it as to replace fork, we use it to replace a plate. We can, but it will end up in the ocean for more than 100 years. It then become microplastic, nanoplastic, and it accumulated in fish, and then we eat it. So it have lots of harmful effect than the goodness of it. So we need researchers involved in this. And as I have already give you a brief introduction about this, there is also a research show that we breathe in microplastic in the air, around 10,000 pieces per year or something, per year, I guess, yeah. So it's already everywhere. It comes with the wastewater. What it comes in wastewater, we call it primary microplastic. Primary microplastic is plastic that is already micrometer size, like microbead. If you notice that some toothpaste has small circle bead, that one is microplastic. Or in your cosmetic, you have glitter, you have this scrubber, it also contains microplastic. This one we call it primary microplastic, and it's contaminated with in wastewater, in domestic wastewater. And also another kind is this fabric. We have polyester, we have many kinds of, you know, polymer type cloth. When we wash it, it will leak out and it become microplastic in wastewater. And wastewater treatment plant cannot 100% treat this kind of pollution. That's why it actually end up in the water and either in the river or in the ocean. We call it primary microplastic. And the other one is secondary microplastic. It's the breaking down of plastic waste like bottle, your shoes, plastic bag, and all kinds of plastic waste we can find in the ocean. It once will be break down into smaller part that we call microplastic, and we call it secondary microplastic. And this kind of microplastic is not only physically toxic, also chemical, that they have some additive. So when we produce plastic, we have to put some additive chemical to make some special property of that plastic. And when it breaks down, this additive will also leak out from the plastic particle into the environment as well. And this one is also harmful, and we actually don't know what kind of additive that the factory use, because it's always unknown. So the scientists, the researcher always like go behind the waste, go behind the problem, go behind the issue, and we have to track it. What is it? And we have to track the toxicology of it. And it's a long story. We use one plastic, so yeah, we better avoid. Okay, come to this talk. It's mainly focused on microplastic because it's directly harmful to our body. If you take ocean water, sea water, or river water, and then you use torch light to it, you can find this image. Lots of plastic particles that you can see with your own eyes. It comes from breaking through a big plastic waste into smaller one, or it comes from primary microplastic from microbead, or from your own polymer type fabric. So this is, I will give you some review of study around the world. This one is a study in China. They study microplastic that is accumulate in fish. And this water, and this is the ocean that next to big river. Okay, so this fish, most of microplastic accumulated in the gut of the fish, and some in gill, because it's consume, you know, fish consume food from gill, and this microplastic come together with everything with the water. And some also accumulate in muscle and liver, but not big part. But most of microplastic in fish we found in gut and gill. And also this one is also in China. They study in mangrove area, not directly in the ocean, but see what mangrove before entering the ocean. They also find microplastic in mostly accumulated in gut as well. And this one, if you think you can avoid eating fish to avoid uptaking of microplastic in your body, you are wrong. You cannot avoid microplastic because it's in salt. You use salt to cook every meal. You put salt in making sweet, in making food, you know. It's in sea salt, it's in rock salts, it is also in lake salts, in every kind of salt, because the microplastic is from everywhere. In sea salt, of course, because our seawater is already full of plastic waste. It's full of microplastic. It's actually even more than 3,300 pieces of microplastic in the water size of swimming pool. Imagine the ocean and imagine how much water you take to make sea salt. That's how much you get microplastic in your salt, and finally end up in your food and in your stomach, in your body system. And this study found a very good relationship between contamination of microplastic in the river and microplastic contamination in salt, in seawater, because most of the microplastic that they found in that area come from microplastic in the river fall to the sea. Also, we avoid eating salt, and we found it in drinking water as well. This study last year of Daphne Urquez Medrano, he found this microplastic in drinking water because of we have urban area, we have wastewater from urban area, we have wastewater from industry. We treat them, and our treatment system cannot 100% treat this microplastic. We discharge our effluent to river, and we have this sludge, wastewater treatment plant sludge. We use it, we maybe throw it on the land, or we use it as in the agricultural land, and then when it rains, it run off, then end up in the water. Or we have this litter and it contaminated directly into the water, and it break into smaller part, and it become microplastic in the river. And we use this river to make drinking water, and our drinking water system did not create this, did not make or design to cope with this kind of waste. There is a study take tap water sample from 5 continents in many countries around the world. They took 150 tap water samples. This is what they found. Worldwide scale, they found average is out of 150 tap water sample, they found 85% contaminated with microplastic in the worldwide. In the US, they found 94% of the samples, they found microplastic. In the whole Europe, 72%. With this, we know that these 2 places, 2 continents have better technology. They still cannot treat microplastic out from drinking water, from tap water, I mean. And how about in Asia? In India, they found 82% of sample contaminated with microplastic. In Jakarta, Indonesia, 76%. In Uganda, 81%. Ecuador, 75%. And Lebanon, 94%. We can hardly avoid eating microplastic in our daily life. It is very clear. So for people who like to drink like fizzy drink, soft drink, or beer, this is bad news for you. In soft drink, like energy drink, fizzy drink, they found as many as 7 particles of microplastic in 1 liter of your drink. Mostly are fiber. How about in beer? If you don't want to drink water anymore because tap water, drinking water contaminated with microplastic, you drink beer instead. Beer contains 28 particles of 1 liter of beer. Yeah, from this research. And tea, cold tea, they found 1 to 6 particles of microplastic per 1 liter of this drink. in Mexico. I don't know how much we can find it in our country. I have never studied in drink in Thailand yet, but this is from Mexico. They found this much of microplastic in their drink. So come back to Thailand, which is very close to Indonesia. Maybe we can reflect what happened in Thailand. It might also happen in Indonesia as well. Who knows? So this is studies in about microplastic in Thailand. This one is in Trang province. It's in the south of Thailand. It has beautiful beaches and world famous beaches as well in this province. This one is a study of Research Center of Marine National Park. It's a government agency in Thailand. They study microplastic in mackerel. And they catch 60 mackerels, and they found every mackerel, they found microplastic in the stomach. As much as 70 pieces per one fish in the stomach. So if you, next time if you eat mackerel, avoid eating the stomach, yeah, because it contains microplastic. And this one is another study in Chanthaburi province. It's not in the same ocean, it's in the Thai Bay. Is in the not very far from Pattaya. It's in that region. This one, they study microplastic in shell bivalve that has two valve, yeah, this kind of shell. And they found at least 3 pieces per one shell. 80 to 70% is fiber with black and blue color. And they found that this kind of microplastic come from fishing net, because they do this fish farm bivalve, like shell farming. They have this fishing net to grow, to contain this bivalve, and then by the time and with the wave and the sea and the wind, this fishing net crack into smaller microplastic, and this bivalve shell consume it. So that we could find microplastic in bivalve as well. So you have to avoid eating fish, you have to avoid eating shell, you have to avoid drinking tap water and fizzy drink and beer, also salt. What else? What left that you can eat? I mean, the food that you can eat if you want to avoid microplastic. Mostly maybe nothing you cannot avoid. This one is another study in Phuket. I think you might have heard about Phuket because it's quite famous. They study in 3 locations. The green one, the green spot, the name is Patong Beach. From this beach, they found fragment shape. It's like it breaks from some bigger plastic. Because in this area, it's very high density of the population. It has lots of human activity. It has bar, restaurant, hotel. So it has lots of plastic waste, and it breaks down into smaller part, and it become contaminated on the beach. So we found this fragment shape. But in the blue spot and red spot, they found fiber. Because these 2 beaches are fish farming community. So we expect that this fiber might come from the fishing net. So different activity, different source, different characteristic of microplastic that we could found in the environment. And in Thailand, not many people study about microplastic in fresh environment, freshwater environment. And this study of Dr. Penkan, Dr. Jatupan, and Dr. Thawatchai Thani, they study in fresh river, in the longest river of Thailand. They study contamination of plastic in microinvertebrates. And they this microinvertebrate you can find in the photo is like worm. It's a worm, small. It's like, I think it's like worm. I'm not very sure. It lives under the water on the river sediment. They took sample of this microinvertebrate and they open it, and then they could see microplastic even with their own eyes. So even this small creature also consume microplastic, and fish and other bigger animal in the river also eat this animal. So it entering the food chain, and then it end up in our stomach. So that one was in Chi River. So let me give you introduction a little bit about this Chi River. You can see map of Thailand in this left corner, the map of Thailand, and this Chi River basin is in orange color and expand into this green color. So it is the biggest, it's the longest river in Thailand. Is it also part of Mekong River Network? Because Chi River end up in Mekong River, and Mekong River end up in the ocean. So this Chi River basin is large, very big. The area it covers is about 49 square kilometers. It's 830 kilometers long. It's the longest in Thailand. It flows through 14 provinces, and more than 6 million people rely on this river. It has 3 seasons: rainy seasons for 6 months, winter seasons for 3 months, summer seasons for 3 months. And what people rely on this river? We rely on water supply from this river. We have 17 provincial water supply systems. And we have another many more community water supply system that is not included in here. And the people use this river for agriculture, for growing their rice, cane, cassava, and rubber. As the most important is, it's the main protein source of 6 million people in this area. But this river uptake lots of municipal waste and wastewater from community. Some are treated, some are not treated. Discharged directly from household, from community into this river. Also, we do monoculture agriculture, that we use lots of pesticides and fertilizer. We throw it into this river. Also, some industrial wastewater effluent also flow through this river. And what I want to tell you more is that microplastic is polymer. It could absorb very well pesticides and other kinds of organic contamination. So when fish or when small creatures eat microplastic, they are not only eating microplastic, but they also eat these pesticides that accumulated, attach or absorb on this microplastic into their body as well. And again, come to our body finally because we eat them. And if we go along the river, we could see this picture. We could see wastewater directly discharged to the river without treating. Even already treat, we can still find this microplastic. And in the same time, people rely a lot on this river without knowing that how harmful this river is, that we polluted it with microplastic, with pesticide, with other kinds of pollution into this river. It's very sad. And this is the top view of this Chi River. It's actually long, very long, but I zoom this part because it's for through this big community produce wastewater with primary microplastic, produce plastic waste, which ready to become secondary microplastic and discharge into this river. And this river end up in Mekong River and then finally reach the ocean. It reached the ocean in Vietnam country. And for my study, because many people already study in the ocean, so I study in Chi River. I want to see how much microplastic is in the river and what is the characteristic that we could find of microplastic in this river. And we want to know what is the source of this microplastic in this very important river. So at the first time, actually I did from the top, from the mountain discharge until it meet the Mekong River, but this one I show you is just the downstream side because it's already very polluted from activity, from human activity. You can see the pictures. The first spot on the top is fish farming. When I did this sampling, this place was have very bad smell because it was a dry season. The water in the river is very low, the water level very low, and it polluted with the food for fish. With this fish farming activity, polluted a lot of throw a lot of organic substances into the river, and it caused bad smell. Also, this fishing net, there are lots of tons of this fish farming in this point. So at this point, we found a lot of microplastic in the sediment. So the second one is at the point that we found discharge of community wastewater directly into the river without treating. Also the bottom picture as well. And at the end, I took sample before it meets Mekong River. So how we took the sample is quite not that difficult. It's quite simple. We had 12 sampling sites, and we have to took the sample from the middle of the river. If the river had this wide, we have to go into the middle, and then we took the sample. So when we take the sample, we pump the water 1 meter above 1 meter below water surface, and we took 25 liters of water and filtrate through sieve, 45 micron stainless steel sieve. And then microplastic, it will be accumulated on the sieve, and then we use formalin to clean the sieve and install this microplastic with the formalin solution in this glass bottle. This is how we took sample of water. We also took sample of sediment at the same spot that we took sample of water. With the sediment, we took 1 kilogram of wet sediment of each side with rich Eggman crab sampling, and also store in glass bottle. The sediment is different between each site because it depends on also location, geography. At this site that I show you, we found sandy sediment at the bottom. Some we found like clay. Yeah. This one is how we do pre-treatment before analysis of water and of the sediment. I think I can skip this one. And what we have discovered, this sampling site, and this is what we found. At the first point, where there are lots of fishing farms, we found a lot of microplastic in the sediment. The first one is more than 60 pieces per 1 kilograms of sediment. 1 kilogram is like one bottle. We found as much as more than 60 pieces. So you can imagine the land, the sediment in that area will be, you know, highly contaminated with this microplastic. In the sediment, we found more than in the water. And what I want to highlight is here is this one, number 8, is big community. It's the biggest community in the downstream actually. We found a lot both in the water and in the sediment. And the point 9, also big community as well, but they have stabilization pond to treat their wastewater, their community wastewater. And actually, this stabilization pond is just a pond that store wastewater for some times before discharging into the river. And at that time that we took the sample, it was dry season. So that stabilization pond just store the wastewater. They don't discharge, they don't have overflow of treated wastewater into the river for months. That's why we found very little microplastic particle in water and sediment, because they don't directly, they don't have discharging of effluent into the river. No discharge, because all wastewater stored in this pond for a long time already. No discharging. This is what we found, and we could make assumption that this microplastic come from, it's very clear that it come from municipal wastewater, and it come from fishing farm. And these are image of microplastic that we found. This I show you only big size. There are also smaller size, like in micron size as well. This one, the picture A is like, we call it fiber. Picture A and C, we call it fiber. Picture B, we call it fragment because we cannot identify what kind, like what shape it is. Picture D as well. But in picture D, you can see circle size, circle shape as well. In the picture, it's maybe around 0.1 millimeter size. And this one, what we found in the sediment is fiber and foam size, foam shape. We can clearly see this styrofoam. It's also come from fishing activity. They use this kind of material to help with their fishing activity. This one is also in the sediment. We call it the E picture. We call it rod. It's like rod shape, yeah. And F, G, and H, we call it fragment. It break down from bigger size of plastic. into microplastic. And this is the result. In the water, 92.2% are line or fiber. Someone call line, someone call fiber, is the same. And 7.8% are fragment. This is in Chi River in freshwater environment. For the sediment under the water, we also found most of them are fiber line as well. And 18.56% are fragment. Some are granule and cylinder. For the color, we can clearly see lots of red and blue here. In the water, we found most of them are red color and blue color. I'm not very sure where it comes from, why it's red and blue, but this is what we found. In the sediment as well, but more blue color than red color, and also other color. How about the size? We found smaller size more than big size. Green color is less than 0.5 millimeter. It go down to micron. Microplastic definition is from 1 micron and up to 5 millimeter. We call it microplastic. And the smaller it is, the more harmful it causes to human health, which is still unknown. It's not very clear yet what is the toxicology of this microplastic in our body. So we better avoid. So yeah, we found more smaller size than big size. And the color and the shape, we found line with red color, the most abundant, and line with blue color is the second abundance in the water. And in the sediment, line or fiber with blue color are the majority. And the second majority is line and red color. And other colors and other shapes are minor, not very much comparing with line shape. And then we took some sample of this microplastic and we analyzed with the FTIR. And then we found it, most of them are polyethylene. Some are polystyrene. And because of our analysis, we need to do some adjustments. So we found some of the microplastics that we cannot identify yet because peaks are not very clear, which I have to, again, the analysis again for this. But it shows us very clear that most of them are polyethylene. So yeah, for the conclusion, source of microplastic in these Chi rivers are from municipal wastewater and from fish farming, which are fishing net and the styrofoam that they also use in the fishing activity. And we found as average in the water is about 200 pieces per 1 cubic meter of river water. So imagine every 1 cubic meter that we pump this water from the river to make drinking water, we have 200 microplastic come together with the water. And every time that fish open their grill to consume food, they consume every 1 cubic meter that fall through fish gill. We also have 200 pieces of microplastic come together with the water. How about in the sediment? With 1 kilogram of wet sediment that we took, we have average of 40 pieces of microplastic. Imagine the whole river, the whole sediment of the whole range of river, how much we could have this microplastic that is already in the river. And every day we continue discharging our wastewater more and more into the river, it will be more and more accumulate in the sediment in the water as well. And the most abundant shape that we found is line, followed by fragment and sphere shape with red and blue color. And the size, the majorities are less than 5 millimeter, less than until micron unit. So it could harm to our body. It could penetrate through our food, to fish, to any insect in the water, to invertebrate, to shell, to any kind of animal that is living in the river. So in the water, we found line shape with red color is the majority. In the sediment, it's line shape with blue color. And most of them are polyethylene, and it discharged from municipal effluent and also fish farming. So if we want to prevent this, our river to not be contaminated with this microplastic pollution, it is very crucial for us to stop it from entering into the river. So if we have wastewater treatment plant, we need a better technology to prevent, to stop, or to treat, or to store this microplastic to not discharge into surface water. Or we need a technology to stop microplastic from discharging from our washing machine or from our pipe, our wastewater pipeline from household. We need technology. We need a better technology for the people around the world to stop this pollution entering into the environment. I will show you a little bit of this, just one slide of another study of mine. Study microplastic in wastewater, in actually wastewater treatment plant. I did this study in Chi River 1 year before this one. In Chi River, I found that most of the microplastic come from wastewater. So this one, I tried to find whether wastewater treatment plant that we use in Thailand can actually treat, or how much capacity of this wastewater treatment plant can remove microplastic from entering into the river. And this one is oxidation pond. It's very simple. It's simpler than activated sludge. It doesn't have the sludge fog. It's only like a big pond. We discharge wastewater into this pond, and then we inject. We put the oxygen with the aerator. We have aerator, so it could, treat some organic carbon out of this river, out of this wastewater, and then the effluent will flow through, be discharged into surface water. And the river, the wastewater will install into this wastewater treatment plant for, as I remember, more than 2 weeks, because it's very big, it's very large one. Once wastewater entering into this system, another 2 weeks, it will be discharged out from this system. And I found that this system actually can treat wastewater, can treat microplastic from wastewater up to 70% efficiency. Even it already treats up to 70%. This microplastic actually accumulated in the sediment under this pond, and effluent water still consume microplastic, and it's as much as 10,000 pieces of microplastic with the effluent from this wastewater. And you can imagine if you don't have the system, how much microplastic will be thrown into our river. And even we don't know the toxicology, we don't know how to deal with it, we don't know anything about it, but we consume it every day and we cannot stop discharging in this kind of pollutant into this river. Even we have this technology, simple, we can treat 70%, but it's still 10,000 pieces of 1 cubic meter. Just 1 cubic meter, we found 10,000. That's a lot. I was very shocked when I found this finding. Okay, this is end the story of my study, and I will show you a little bit more about another study in Mekong River. It's a study of Fujio Kojima, I guess from Japan. They did survey on microplastic leakage in the Mekong River basin. They took sample from Mekong River from in Thailand, in Chiang Rai, a green dot, and then in Vientiane in pink color, and then in Udon Thani, another green one in the middle. This one is where Chi River meets Mekong River, and another two are in Cambodia and in Vietnam before entering the ocean. This is what they found. The closer to the ocean.
Dr. Kaewsuk,
yes.
Time is 1 minute again.
I have 1 minute.
Yes.
Okay.
1 minute.
Okay. Thank you. So the deeper, the closer to the ocean, we found more and more microplastic in Mekong River. And Chi River discharged to Mekong River in Ubon Ratchathani here. That's much of microplastic polluted in Mekong River here, and more in Cambodia and in Vietnam, and then it's in the ocean. And it's our ocean, our common ocean, common environment. So for my talk, thing to take away for all of you who have concern with the environment is every waste from land end up in the ocean somehow. Both fresh and marine water environment are polluted with this microplastic, with this plastic pollution. And there is a study show that in 2050, we will have more plastic in the ocean than fishes if we stay status quo like this. And real action is needed from individual, from all of us. And then we have to force our country, and we need to together make a global movement to stop this kind of pollution for us to have a better life in the future, or for our new generation to come. So thank you very much. This is all my talk today.
Okay, this is a very interesting research from Dr. Kaewsuk. And then we have a lot of questions for you.
Already? Okay.
The first one from Miss Tisa Angelia. Plastic waste is very dangerous. So what do you recommend it for the problem of plastic waste, which is currently increasingly unavoidable with the use of personal protective equipment with plastic material to protect yourself from the COVID-19 virus? This is the first question. And then the second, the second from Mr. Muhammad Yusuf. Plastic waste is very, very dangerous, but it is possible that in the future some kind of environmentally friendly plastic can be found. Okay, maybe you can answer the two questions.
The COVID-19, right?
Yeah.
Okay. this is also a problem in Thailand. We had this because we know about plastic waste and it pollutes our environment and also the ocean, also consequences as microplastic. We had a campaign to stop using single-use plastic in Thailand, and it's quite effective, but it's all failed now because of COVID-19. Everyone use single-use plastic and like grab food, you know, we order food from restaurant because we cannot go out. That make lots of plastic waste right now. But you might think that COVID-19 it was out for a short time only, but microplastic is with us, I think, is forever if we don't stop our consumerization like behavior. So I'm not sure how to answer this. Just try to avoid using single-use plastic as much as you can. And yeah, and with COVID-19, you can contemplate your daily consumption with your own health and also have some concern with microplastic like myself. I use always my own bottle. I carry it everywhere, or I use this small bottle like when I go for coffee shop. So I also can stay away from using single-use plastic. Also, I also carry this one with me all the time, which I can avoid using plastic container. So yeah, so it's quite difficult with this COVID-19, but just be more aware with the plastic consumption you use. Or you can think about there are plastic like single-use plastic that are able to recycle, and that some type that cannot recycle. You can choose the shop that pack your food with recyclable plastic. This is better. At least you can recycle that container so that it will not be accumulated in the environment. That's what I can recommend right now. With this topic.
Okay, the second one.
Oh, sorry, can you tell me again?
Okay. Plastic water is very, very dangerous, but it's possible that in the future some kind of environmentally friendly bioplastic can be found.
Yes, right now there are many researchers are trying to produce alternative kinds of plastic that come from 100% from the nature. There is also one famous study in Indonesia. They produce plastic bag from cassava. It look like bag, look like perfectly like plastic bag, but you can eat it actually. It's a study in Indonesia. This is one, and there are also many other studies in around the world trying to find material that can replace plastic, but it's one because it's still new technology, so it's still expensive. It is still expensive, but I hope that in the future it will become cheaper and cheaper, and we'll be able to replace plastic production. And there are also studies that trying to make products like plastic products that contain single type of polymer. Because if one plastic product have many types of polymer, many kinds of polymer, we cannot recycle that polymer. We cannot recycle them. But if this container made from one kind of polymer, then we can recycle it. Then we can use it forever. We can reuse the material again and again and again. Yeah, so there are two research group that are trying to do this as well. And also Thai government also provides funding for this topic of plastic researcher to trying to solve the plastic problem in our country. Yeah. So in the future, yes, I think things will get better about plastic pollution.
Okay, thank you. And the third question, almost same with the second question about the biodegradable plastic. And then the fourth question from your friend, Bu Ois. In your opinion, how engineering and biotechnological tools such as advanced water treatment would help to control, reduce, or even to eliminate microplastic pollution, especially in drinking water, in the near future? What is your opinion?
Yeah, this one will be my future topic, I think. There are already some researchers trying to make like new technology to treat microplastic out of wastewater, community wastewater. We can remove it with like kind of simple technology like filtration system. Some researchers use sand filtration. It could reduce some amounts of microplastic out from the water. And I came across one research in other country. They found that plankton can break microplastic down to nanoplastic. So my future research will be like, we have wastewater treatment plant, and then we have the treatment process, and at the end we could add plankton like pond, so that it will break down microplastic into nano size. It breaks down in their stomach as well. When plankton eat microplastic, and they have in the stomach, they have some mechanism to break it down into microplastic. And we could, I guess, I hope it will be a very tough one. I hope that bacteria can finally digest this nanoplastic, but it would be like anaerobic digestion or something that we could develop in the future, quite long future. And there is also another attempt from other research groups that are trying to use like advanced technology like oxidation to break this polymer down and to deal with it easier than big size of microplastic. But we also have to be careful, because once it's breakdown, it leak out the additive and other kind of toxic chemical that they use when they make microplastic. So yeah, but that is the trend of the technology that is trying to deal with this microplastic pollution in water and to treat it before we consume it as drinking water.
Okay.
If you are interested, we can join.
Okay, thank you for the answer. And then the next question is there any research in eliminating microplastic?
Yeah, eliminating microplastic from water, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. There are studies already, have some publication online. Yeah, most of them use filtration system.
Okay. And then from Mr. Hendrata, how about the using of the bacteria to reduce the plastic contaminant? Is there any possibility to use them in the river, in the pond, or maybe in the lake?
I think we can, I'm not sure, but I think it's quite dangerous if we want to dump bacteria into the lake for them to digest or treat this plastic because we are not sure whether that kind of bacteria will harmful to the environment. And when bacteria break microplastic down, it will create a new additive or new kind of toxic chemical into the water. But there is a possibility that we can do it in lab scale first, then we could apply into the real scale. But I don't think it's in the river. It could be in wastewater treatment plant. Just before the pollution entering into the environment, I think we can deal with it, but not in the environment, in the water environment. Yeah.
Okay. And the last question is from Mr. Oki. How about the occurrence and fate of microplastic in soil environment? It is quite different with microplastic in marine or aquatic, right?
Yes. In the soil, I have talked to one researcher from Korea. He studied microplastic contamination in soil from agricultural land. He found that it is accumulated from the plastic that people use in the farm, in the agricultural activity. They found also like fresh land, like that piece of land have never been using for agricultural activity. They also found microplastic that they think that it might come from wet or dry deposition from the air. Yeah, so, and also used to read one article that they found microplastic in national park or somewhere very far away from the community. Also they found microplastic accumulated in soil as well. Yeah, so once it happened, when once it's flow into the air, it could flow to everywhere. So even in the fresh piece of land never been using for agricultural, they also found microplastic. Yeah. Also, when we have a wastewater treatment plant and we have the sludge from we have like a sludge, we dry it and we dump it into land, or we dump it into landfill. That is also a very big source of microplastic accumulation in soil as well. And it also could finally run off through rainwater, through rainy season into water environment. Yeah. So it's everywhere.
I think time is up and all questions already answered by you. Now I will read the conclusion from our webinar, especially the second webinar series. The first one, we live without plastic. Is that right? Over 900 million tons of plastic are produced every year. And then biodegradable plastic already produced. For the example, you said that in Indonesia, plastic bag from cassava is already produced.
Yes.
And then it can be eat for us.
Yes, it can be eaten.
Yeah. And then always use your own bottle or container to buy some maybe coffee, maybe meal or another food. Use only your bottle. And then source of microplastic in the rivers is from municipal wastewater and fishing farm. Microplastic also have a main color, red and blue, if we want to see in the water. And then type of polymer, I write the first one is polyethylene, the second is polystyrene, and the third one is other. I think it's very interesting research. Maybe the webinar participant can be joined with Dr. Kaewsuk, and you know about this screen, Dr. Kaewsuk, the jutamas.k@mahidol.edu. You can email Dr. Kaewsuk if you're interested about her research, or you want to collaboration research with Dr. Jutamas. It's okay. It's open for you, Dr. Kaewsuk.
Can I add more
Participant,
something
yeah.
more? Not only our own action that we could take, like to bring our own or whatever. I think there is also we need action from the national level as well. Like national level should provide research funding, should take measures, like have some new laws or to prohibit using of some kinds of plastic, then the whole country will be on the same direction. Because raising awareness is a forever task. You can't finish it in your life, you know. But if the nation forced the people in the country to do the same, I think it will be more effective. But don't forget to be always concerned.
Okay. Okay. I think it's end of our webinar. Maybe Dr. Kaewsuk can be stop the screen, and we have a photo session now. Mohon Bapak Ibu untuk videonya diaktifkan. Kita akan photo session. Okay, for the first page, I will take a photo. 1, 2. Okay, and the second page, I will take a photo. Okay, the third page. Okay, and the last page. Okay. Okay, Dr. Kaewsuk, I will say very thanks to you. You can share your research and give us a new perception about the plastic, how we must to use plastic, and then how impact about our environmental, especially in the water. So I want to say in bahasa, in Bapak Ibu, jadi lebih bijaksanalah untuk menggunakan plastik dalam kehidupan kita. Okay, Dr. Kaewsuk, I want to say, maybe this is a pronunciation is very wrong. Kapkunma. Is that right? Okay. Kapkunma. Terima kasih banyak, dan terima kasih Bapak Ibu semua sudah join di webinar series 2. Akan kita lanjutkan di webinar series 3 dengan Pak pembicara Dr. Weni Vindiasuti dari Universitas Trunojoyo dan saya sendiri, Dr. Farida Bulansari. Oke, Dr. Kaewsuk, Sawadee-krap and good evening for all participants.
Good evening and thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu.
Terima kasih.
Thank you. Terima kasih. Bu Uis mungkin bisa menyapa temannya.
Hello, Kai.
Kayaknya
Long time no see.
Oh, sudah
Japri
hilang.
aja ya. Tak Japri
Oh,
aja, Mbak.
oke, iya. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu semuanya. Jangan lupa Rabu minggu depan kita join di webinar series yang ketiga. Mohon maaf kalau sesuatu yang kurang berkenan akan kita perbaiki di webinar seri 3. Dan untuk informasi berikutnya, Pak Koko yang kemarin tidak jadi di webinar 1 akan kami combine di webinar series keempat, gitu ya. Bersama dengan pakar kesehatan lingkungan dari Universitas NU Surabaya dan praktisi di konstruksi, jadi mengenai pandemi COVID-19. Baik Bapak Ibu, terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Oke, pamit live.
Enggak seluas apa. Lupa itu waktu rapat apa ada bisnis sekitar itu. Terus,